Okay. See, this is a great start. We're both laughing. I love it. I'm not cutting this out, by the way.
No, go.
This is going to be the theme is like a lot of energy.
Seriously.
So, welcome back, episode 59. Yes. And I'm so like every single guest I meet, I just keep thanking God. And we just talked about God, Julie, before we hit record. And we're going to talk about God now as well. So let me start this intro. Episode 59, Adventures in Adversity. This is an inspirational podcast. For those of you who have watched before, thanks for coming back. And for those of you who are new, you may or may not know Julie. I am going to know her even better in the next hour, as you are as well. Julie is a trauma-informed adoptee coach, which we are totally going to unpack and talk about. And first of all, Julie, I just wanted to say thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad I found you. Let's do a shout out to Jim Serrano because he's my adoptee.
You know what? Episode 54. I've talked about Jim, I think, in the last 4 episodes. Episode 54, Jim Serrano. Oh, episode 54, because Jim is also an adoptee.
Yes, yep.
And not only Jim, you guys know each other because you've met at in-person adoptee events, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
So that, I think, the community, the connection to Jim, the being an adoptee, I just want to give you the floor to introduce yourself. And I think you are a beautiful addition as a guest because in the last, let's see, maybe 6 weeks, I have been warmly welcomed into the world of adoptees. No, I'm serious. Adoptees, organization that help adoptees, people that are adoptees, people that now coach adoptees like you, people that have written books, people that are writing books. So please, Julie, introduce yourself. And again, I'm just going to thank you 100 times for opening your heart and coming on the podcast.
Oh, gosh, of course. Yeah, quite honestly, it's interesting. Even as we talked at the beginning, I was saying how you should have all adoptees on this podcast because we all have many adventures in adversity in our lives.
Oh.
What's really interesting is I didn't realize how much adoption as a concept, fact, whatever, impacted my life until about 5 years ago. Now, it started coming out probably in 2010. And that's because this story I've told a couple of times, but it still gets me every time. So I was getting my master's in counseling. And part of that was because I was raised by what I believe was an alcoholic father. There's things that I have people that question that, but he liked to drink. And so he died when I was 15. So that was really the first adversity that I knew of and experienced. That was really, really difficult.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And
Yeah, it's really
I remember that and then marrying a husband who had addiction problems that I think this is where I want to go. I think this is the direction that I want to go. So that's why I got my master's, was this heart to help. And my mom even told me when she adopted me, she said, I held you and I knew you were going to change the world. She was so sweet. I mean, she still is. She's alive, the one that raised me.
Oh my gosh, that's literally this. I got chills through my body. That's so sweet. The mother's love, right?
Oh my gosh. And what's interesting about it is she owns me as her own. It's a little, it's a little eerie sometimes. I'm like, okay, I got it. You love me.
You're like, Mom, I have to go now. I love you so much, but I have to go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cute. But all of that to say, I knew that it was my passion, calling, whatever, to help. It's just what I was created to do. So anyway, I'm at this intensive class at Liberty University. That's where I got my degree, my master's. And I'm in this intensive class and somehow adoption came up. I have no memory because this was back in 2010. So we're talking 15 years ago. And is that right? Yeah, 15 years ago. And I'm with this professor. She pulls me aside and she says, I'm a foster parent, which is interesting of what we just talked about, your friend that has the foundation or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, she said literally to my face, you need to deal with your adoption. You have skeletons in your closet and you are going to harm people if you don't. And I was like, huh? Literally, I felt like my face had been physically slapped. I didn't know how to respond to that. I'm like, my adoption has not impacted me. What are you even talking about?
Did she know you were adopted?
She did. Yeah, it
She did,
came up.
okay.
So
Okay, it
that's
came
why
up.
she pulled me aside.
Okay, but you were like, "What are you talking about?
Mhm.
I'm earning my master. I'm good.
I'm fine. What do you
Talking
even
about."
mean?
Okay,
Totally.
and she's
So
a
it's that
foster parent.
she was
Got it,
a
yep.
foster parent and had watched she saw trauma come through her house
Oh, it's exactly
constantly.
what's yes, okay.
But of course, at the time, I had no idea. And this phrase bothers people, but I had no idea that adoption was trauma. I didn't know. I didn't
Mm,
experience that. But every time I say that, I get pushback from the societal norms.
sure, right.
Well, what I say to that is, listen, my adoption, me being adopted, and the family that I lived with, they were great. They loved me. Yeah, sure, as all families have stuff,
Of
they
course.
loved me, they took care of me. That's not the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making when I say that adoption is trauma, and the reason why I felt so called to do what I do is because I had 7 weeks of my life where I had 4 different caregivers. The first 7 weeks of my life. So I went from my mom's womb, my birth mother's womb, and this is a big one, okay, where you know this, I told you this, where she attempted to abort me twice between weeks 12 and 16. And the crazy thing about this was 1973. So if you know any of the laws in our country, Roe v. Wade passed for the first time in January of 1973. 3 months later, she attempted to abort me twice. So,
Yeah, no, and I'm so sorry that is something that you had to experience in having that. I'm just
yeah,
sorry for that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and I appreciate that. But I think what I've learned is I remember doing a listening prayer session before that's what it was called, even before I understood what somatics was, like
Mm,
what the body was. This was years ago. And it wasn't that long ago. It was probably in 2018. And I remember sitting there and she asked me, "Where do you think Jesus was when you were being aborted?" And when that was being
yeah.
attempted. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've never even yeah." And so I kind of that was the beginning of me going there, and I think he was there, but I don't really know, and it was difficult for me to
Of
actually allow
course.
that to materialize, but he
You
was
had to
there.
look at you yeah.
Yeah, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
it was really profound, and I remember thinking, "Okay." For the longest time, that scripture in Psalm 139, I would laugh at. I'm not fearfully and wonderfully made. She freaking attempted to abort me. Like, that's where I would go. Like, I was mad.
Of course. Well, it doesn't feel that way when we're made in the image of God, and well, then you're kind of like, "Well, why did that almost happen to me then?"
Right. But then I went to this place. Obviously, there was two, both and you'll notice with adoptees, this is very true for us. We hold two truths all the time that a lot of people don't. Like, I can be grateful for the family that raised me and still grieve what I lost in the family that I didn't get. Those things can coexist. And I think what was really interesting for me in that moment was I realized this sucks and God wanted me here. There's a reason why I'm here.
Mhm.
I don't want to waste what his calling is for my life. And so
Mhm.
it's really interesting because at the time when I was getting my master's, it was to help addictive behaviors we talked about early on. And I did that for 10 years, loved it,
Yeah.
enjoyed it,
You had lived it. You
had
had
lived
lived
it.
it, and then
Yeah.
you also got so you had lived it, and then you also got the training on how to coach it. So you
Mhm.
have the lived experience, I have the education, and you have the calling to help.
Correct. Yeah.
Amazing.
Really, and it
Okay.
was great. I had groups that I facilitated for years. I still
Oh, I love
actually
it.
have residual of that, but what ended up
Love it.
happening was in April of 23, so 2.5 years ago, actually in California, which I'm here now, but
Yep.
I was living in Northern Virginia at the time, and my ex-husband's brother's wife's mom, okay? hard to follow that,
Yeah.
fell, and she had dementia. And the reason why I was even in California was because I was helping the mother. And Greg, my brother-in-law, had just been diagnosed with cancer. So
Okay.
it was she, the wife, could not be there for her mother because she had to be there for her husband. So Matt and I were talking, we were still married at the time, and he was like,
Yeah.
this is something you're so good at. Can you go help her? I'm like, yes, I can work from wherever. I will go.
It's so
So
amazing.
I went, never really hung out with a person with dementia for that long. It was intense. And
With being with the child, it's really
you have
hard.
to not take things personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but what was interesting is at the time, Matt and I we weren't doing well. And I knew that.
Yeah.
And I was staying with my mother-in-law in her condo. Great relationship with her still, love her. And I'm doing yoga in the morning, listening to a podcast, and I literally felt this electricity go through my body. I don't even know how to describe it other than that. And I heard audibly in my head, Bree, this is what freaked me out. You need to stop working with addiction and start working with adoption. And I literally sat up and was like, because I was probably doing some breathing or something. And I was like, what? I said it out loud because I didn't even know, what does that even mean? Start working with So this is 2023. So to kind of give you a reason where that even came from,
Sure.
2020, as we all know, the
What
year from
happened then?
hell.
Yeah. Crazy, right? Where everyone's life somehow cataclysmically shifted.
I mean, seriously. And what
Yeah.
was so interesting about that year for me, so I had found my birth mother in 2010. When everything happened with my professor, I went back
Wow.
because, like I mentioned to you, and you were like, what's that? The Enneagram is an assessment that you can do that helps you learn how to spiritually grow in the way that you were designed to. You need to do it.
I have to stop the podcast because I'm gonna go do it right now.
Go do it right now. I'll send you the links, or we can even put them in the show notes if you
Yeah.
want, because for
Please.
me, I'm a 1, Enneagram 1. There's 9 numbers, and I'm a 1, which is a perfectionist.
Okay.
So if somebody tells me to do something, I'm going to obediently do it. So I literally went back I was living in Maui, Hawaii at
Oh.
the time. Bummer. Definitely had lived in Hawaii. And I found her. My ex helped me find her. We talked on the phone. It was interesting. I was literally in so many ways born out of adversity. So
Gosh.
the every time I tell the story, I'm like, it's crazy. So
You're just such a before I even hear the story, I just wanna tell you that you're a badass. That's all. And then
well,
after, I'll tell you again.
okay, well, I appreciate that. So I'm on the phone with her. That's how I met her. And the reason why this even came to be was because that I had just read through paperwork that the social worker had sent me from California to prepare me. She said, you
Okay.
need to read it because it's gnarly. And I already explained to you why it was gnarly. And
Yeah.
so once I read that part of she attempted to abort me twice, I couldn't read anymore. I get the chills even thinking about it right now. My head felt, the only way I can describe it is it fragmented into pieces like glass. I felt it and I immediately had a headache. And I was like, and I actually feel it now, literally
I'm
right
so
here.
sorry.
No,
You
no,
don't have
no. I appreciate but
it's
that was the experience, right?
it's just
And I
yeah.
had to what am I going to do with this information?
How
No wonder I have felt the way that I've felt it opened up a can right then that I didn't know what to do with.
Yes. But you knew to go through that as a child, survive that, even if you didn't know about it, when you actually know about it, and then it's almost
Yeah, my
encoded in
body
your
held it.
body.
Yeah, it absolutely knew. So after I find this out, I'm having the conversation with her. Obviously, I'm not going to say, so you attempted to abort me twice? Not in my first conversation with her.
Because that you're trying to connect in some way, maybe.
Totally. Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you this. She wasn't the most healthy person to connect with, to be honest. And that severing that she did early on in the womb, and I know she didn't sever it, but she did. There is so much research that talks about the cortisol that gets transferred to the baby and the, fetal alcohol syndrome and all of that stuff. She was more than likely an alcoholic at the time. She was more than likely using.
Shit.
Was 16 when she hitchhiked literally from California on semi trucks to Colorado. And that's where she met my birth father. They hooked up that night. He left the next morning to go to work. He came back from work that night and found her in bed with his 2 roommates and then kicked her out. That's literally how I came to be. I am Mamma Mia. I need to do a reel about this, and I haven't figured out how to, but literally she slept with 3 dudes. And that's what she told me. She goes, "It was the 70s. I slept with 3 guys, literally without missing a beat. Would you like to hear about the night?" Oh, oh, no, 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 no. I don't want to know how I was conceived. No, thanks. Not in this way. So yeah, it was interesting. And I met her that year. My boys met her. My mom met her. I have a half sister from her.
Okay.
But she died in 2020. So fast forward, that was the beginning of all the craziness. So I find out she's dying. Months before that, I found out my father-in-law is dying of lung cancer, who has been my dad for 25 years, because clearly my dad died when I was 15.
Right.
So this all happened. It felt like a spiral. I
Oh.
don't even know what to do. And then after that, I find out my aunt, my adopted aunt, my mom's brother's wife, is dying of a disease that is so rare they don't know how to. I mean,
You're just like, it's almost like,
how do I hold this?
how did you hold it? Do you remember? Was it just, I mean,
Um, by doing, by solving, by showing up. So with my birth mom, what I ended up doing was, when I found out she was dying, my sister called me to tell me that she was on life support. She said, "I just wanted you to know, whatever." And I hung up the phone and I thought, do I need to go? I was in Northern Virginia. She was in Washington State. I was already planning the trip to go help my uncle with my aunt. He didn't even know I was going to be doing it because he wouldn't want me to come during COVID. But my mom was in her 70s and was like, "I can't, but somebody needs to go help him." And of course, I'm the one who
you're the
can.
helper. You swoop in and help
Right.
everybody, right?
Exactly. So I was trying to figure all of that out. And so Matt actually said to me in a conversation, he said, "Well, Julie, do you feel like she needs you there?" And I was like, "I really don't know." He said, "Well, why don't you call the hospital? Because maybe they'll tell you you can't go, because it was COVID."
Sure. Sure. Right.
So literally, Bree, I call the hospital and I tell them who I am and they go, "Oh, we know who you are. You can totally come." I'm like, "What do you mean you know who I am?" When I told them my birth mother was Jem, they're like, "Oh yeah, we've heard all about you. You can absolutely come. End of life is totally different." Okay. So weird. So then I get off the phone from that and I'm like, do I go? Like, do I feel I need it? And I
What
didn't.
is your soul? What does your soul need? Yeah.
My soul
And
did not need it. I had forgiven her at this point. She and I had talked about it. We weren't really connected. She wasn't the most safe person to be around, but what I realized was, and honestly, who said this was the person at the hospital. She said, "Well, would she want you here?" Yeah, she would. So I made the trip and I made
you
everything.
did.
So I was there with her for the 24 hours before she died. My sister came and was with her when she actually died. And then literally, I think I was in Seattle for another few days and flew to my aunt to say, this was me. This is how I dealt with adversity. I did stuff. There was no being with the emotion. Seriously, none. And I think I went and quarantined in Hawaii for 2 weeks before, and they were crazy. They were militant, calling me every day, "Are you in Europe?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm here. Chill out."
You're like, I'm having a Mai Tai. Just give me a break.
What am I going to do? I can't go outside. Like, it was so crazy. So then I'm with my uncle and I realized this is when it all, the, hit the fan. I realized my husband and I are fully at an impasse. We cannot move past whatever is my block. And I took it on as my responsibility. It was all me.
Let's fix it. Solve it.
Mhm. Of course. So I was talking to a friend and she said, "Why don't you call the therapist that you had in California who
Yeah.
knows your story?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, she doesn't know
Totally.
all the new stuff."
She doesn't have a couple weeks to catch up on it all. Yeah.
Right, and actually it's a him, I don't know why I said she. So I called him and told him everything, and he literally, without missing a beat, 3, he goes, "Holy crap, Julie, that's a lot.
Oh god.
You need" not kidding, and then he goes, "You need blank, blank, and blank, and in that order." And I was like, "Yes, sir." Wrote it down.
I will do you're obedient.
Yeah. So I wrote it down, and literally within seconds found an EMDR. He said, "You need to do EMDR again. Find an EMDR therapist that's nearby." Found one who was adoption competent, which that's unheard of.
Wow.
Just not so that was a blessing. Found her. Then he said, "You need to do parts work." I think he said, "You need
Oh,
to do
I did
somatic work, and then you need to do parts work." He said all of that. And I didn't even know. I mean, I knew what somatics was because I was
yeah,
trained in the fact that it was the body, but we were never trained in that at all. So,
yeah.
and we were never told that adoption is trauma there because nobody knew that. That wasn't something that was communicated. So anyway, I'm sitting here thinking, I don't even know what can I've now opened. This is a whole new one that I'm going to have to step through. I even talked to my husband and at the time, I don't know what else to do. And he said, I don't have anything. I don't know what to tell you, you know.
Yeah.
So I get home and I realize I have this unfinished business with my birth mother, do the EMDR work. She tries the whole time to get me to focus on my body, and I can't. I literally can't. She's like, "Where are you feeling that your body?" I'm like, "My head." She's like, "Oh,
You're like,
babies
she's like,
don't
"Where in your"
feel in their head. Like where are you?" I couldn't. It took me 9 months to basically graduate, which is funny that it's 9 months. And I had a moment where I was able to connect with my baby self, the time when I was taken from my birth mother and put in the nursery. She told me to get a pillow, and I didn't know why. She said, "Trust me, you're gonna need it." And she moved me through what it felt like to be that baby, to be with her. I cried. I've never cried before. I screamed into that pillow. It was so cathartic and painful, but so good. And at the end, she said, "I'm so sorry." I said, "Don't you dare apologize. You just did something," and I have the chills talking about it, that I couldn't. How could I have done that? First of all, I still didn't know how my body felt, but it was the first step into the fact that I realized that baby held a lot, and that baby was freaking me. And so I knew at that point, we got a lot of work to do. And so what ended up happening, I started having these weird flashbacks off and on during our relationship when it came to intimacy. One of the core issues for adoptees is their fear of deep love because they're going to leave you. That
Yeah, of
they're going to
course.
leave.
Of
And that
course.
actually was confirmed for me. But either
Well,
way.
no, I mean, if I'm not an adoptee, but I would think that would be the feeling that if anyone shows me love, I don't wanna lose it,
Yeah. Yep.
right?
Yeah. So then we will do something to walk away first, usually.
Right, so you don't right, so it's on your terms at least.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Or we will please and fawn and do whatever they need in order to be loved and lose ourselves. Ding, ding,
Ah.
ding.
I just hit my head on the microphone. Oh my god! You just hit me over the head with it, I get it. Sometimes you need to be hit in the head in life with
You
that,
do.
with
You do.
ideas. So there you go. Thank you.
You're so right. Okay, so the way that I describe this, and I think I've talked about it a couple of other times, but the way that I describe it was, let's say we were going to be intimate, and girl, I'm transparent. I'm gonna tell you stuff. I'm I'm laying there and I freeze, literally paralyzed, and I don't even know why, but I'm frozen.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know." And it felt almost despair. I have no words for you right now. And what I was not there was no flashback to an event.
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't have any events. How I'm a 7-week-old baby. I mean, so that's where I went. If I give myself to you this way, you're just going to leave like everybody else did.
Mm.
I didn't know that's what was happening.
You didn't know at the time that's why your body's freezing.
Correct.
God.
But that's my whole point of it lives
Yeah.
there. It
It
was
lives
there the
there.
whole time. And so it was my body trying to communicate with me, "You gotta do something, girlfriend. There's something going on here." And it took a little bit of time. So that was probably around 2021, 2022. And Matt's dad died in the end of 2020. 23 and Me for Christmas. because I
Okay.
wanted, not because I was trying to find my dad at this point. I didn't even know. She told me he was dead. She
Okay.
didn't know. She slept with 3 freaking guys and she didn't even know which one it was. So how would she know? But I believed her because, yeah, you know. So I get the 23andMe results in January of 21 and it says I'm 52% Italian. What? Which makes sense. You see me talking with man.
I got Irish and Italian too, you know. Like,
Right. It was hilarious. My husband was like, yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Yep.
you know.
You're
So
like, what are
anyway,
you talking about?
exactly. And I found out that I had a sister, and that sister is who I connected with. And basically, you know, initially her husband was like, "Oh my gosh, she's probably a gold digger." I mean, I don't know what he said. And because that's what people think about us, like we're just seeking money. No, no, we're seeking
Oh,
connection to our
that's so
biology. We're seeking our culture.
you're
And
seeking to understand your story and
oh,
who like I hate that people think that. That's awful.
oh, it's so don't take anything from it. I don't want to take anything from
You're
you.
like, I'm just listen, trust me, I don't want anything. I just need some
I just want
information.
you to know, first of all, I
Yeah.
just want you to know that I'm okay. I want you to know that I'm healthy, but I also need to know what my medical history is because I'm moving into life here and all I know is from 73 and before. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I have no access to any records beyond that. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
So
Well, anyone who thinks that is stupid. So I'm
I
sorry.
agree with you. So anyway, she shows her husband a picture of me, my sister, and he goes, "Oh, holy crap, call your dad." Like, immediately
Oh, a
knew.
resemblance.
Yep, I look
I
exactly like my 16 and a half years younger sister. Exactly. Face, her, same.
that's so cool, right? You're like,
It
yes.
was.
You
It was.
know, if I can imagine that must be some link, just something clicks
It
in
did.
some way.
There was a and this okay, so the fragments that I mentioned that felt like glass.
Oh,
Have you ever heard of kintsugi?
not Kitsugi.
Kintsugi. It's a Japanese art where they take beautiful vases, things, and put them back together with gold metal glue.
Oh, yes, I've seen it with it. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what was happening.
that's what it felt like. I felt like everything, the puzzle pieces came together. My soul felt settled because for the first time, I actually, besides my children, obviously, I looked at my son and I knew he was mine. I mean,
Of
but
course.
that's different than
Totally.
having a dad and sisters and brothers. I mean, my brother looks just like my son. And
Oh,
but I never and my son didn't look like the Brumley family. One of them, the other one did.
right.
So there was this as soon as we met my dad, there was this at the end of it, Cole was my oldest was so shocked. He was like, "I'm gonna have hair because the Brumley family's bald." And then he goes, "And I think I've just seen myself in 40 years." It was I didn't realize I get the chills talking
Your
about it.
sons are amazing.
They
Oh my
really, really
gosh.
are, and they were so unbelievably supportive. They owned that Italian heritage. They both have Italian flags in their rooms now. It's hilarious. Yeah, they're
They must I'm getting the feeling that during this process, your 20-something-year-old sons were almost helping their mom through.
they were.
They were
They were
guiding you through.
without even realizing that that's what they were doing. You know what's really funny? Your dog just did something. My dog is doing something right now, and it's driving me nuts. He's, like, licking everything. He does that.
Mine's barking. I think they're feeling the love
Oh
here.
my gosh, dogs are amazing. My therapist had a therapy dog, and that dog would feel my emotion and would come up to the screen. It was amazing. I mean, I'm just like, wow.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to keep the story. Okay, so
Okay.
basically, we're sitting there talking. It ends, and at the time, this was in 2021. So Sutton was 17 or 18, my youngest, and my oldest was 19. Well, no, if it was 2021, then he was 20. He was 20, and
Okay.
so it was amazing, and what we realized was they are half adopted. Duh. They are half adopted. Half of their lives, they don't know. And so
Mm.
me finding this helped them find parts of themselves too. And that's the reason why it felt so like connecting for us. And my ex was unbelievably supportive that year.
Like,
That year was a really cool year for me, but it was also a year where he began to detach. And here's the reason why is because I think he saw me connecting. in a way that I'd never connected before, and he felt that was meant for him. He didn't understand, which honestly, looking back, I can get why he felt that way,
But
but at
it's
the
not
same
about
time,
him.
it isn't about him,
It's
and I
not
think
about
that
you.
well,
Yeah.
correct, I know, but it's common. That is very common
Right.
to happen with adoptees in reunion.
Oh.
And I felt I had no words to be able to explain to him what I was experiencing because it was all pre-verbal. So what was happening to me should have happened when I was a baby, but it all came and none of us have been able to, and I haven't heard anybody be able to explain it well, because the way that it feels as if your whole body is energetically charged when you're with these people because you never held that space before. So it is like you have a new boyfriend. That's the only way. And it wasn't just with my dad. It was with whenever my sisters would text me, like I'd get so excited. And I'm getting the chills talking about it now. I had never experienced that before. But then you have to think of the other side of the coin. They didn't know what to do. My dad didn't even know I freaking existed. So to find out you have a daughter who's older than all of your children. I mean, yeah, I'm a year and a half older than the oldest sister. It was definitely a shocker. And it took him, understandably, 24 hours to remember that night. And he called 23andMe and was like, I just want to check on, not because he didn't want to accept me, but he was just so floored, which wouldn't you be?
But it sounds like after that 24 hours, it sounds like you guys have
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We connected. So that was the end of January of 2021. We talked on the phone. He told Mariah, my sister, he said, this is a blessing. Let's welcome her into our family. Now, one of the things I would say that I would do, which was beautiful,
amazing.
what I would do over again was not drink from a fire hose. So basically, I threw myself into them in
Um,
so many ways that was not healthy for either of us.
it's
It
like
just wasn't. We needed to titrate ourselves into each other's lives. And we didn't do that in the first year because I pushed more than I probably should have. I've learned.
that is a
That's what I
very
would tell adoptees.
I'm so glad you said that because I can imagine, and if I'm trying to put myself, I would be like, I want to talk to you every day and what vacations and
What
tell me
we did.
everything. And after you tell me everything, tell me more. Let's make up for lost time. So it's that can be a little detrimental, is what you're saying. Or like hard to kind of it's
Well,
too
think
much.
about, first of all, my nervous system was so overwhelmed at that point.
Mm.
I didn't know what to do with what was happening within me because it I don't first of all, it started to get me clued into what was going on in my body. That was the beginning of me going, "What is happening?" I Because I'd never experienced those feelings before ever in my then I think what it did was it ended up, because of all of that, pushing that away, like I said, and 2022 comes around and I'd been in reunion with them. We spent Christmas together. I mean, they did little interventions with me trying to help me understand their family. I mean, it was just, it was a lot. I said, drink a fire hose.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wasn't even in the headspace to think about what it was like for them
Yeah,
because
because
what I was experiencing was just so heady, hardy. My whole body was freaking out. So now in our conversations, we all go, wow, we should have slowed the roll and just taken it in bite sized pieces versus that whole first year. I saw them probably 3 times. And I was in Northern Virginia and they were in Utah. I mean,
yeah, so you were really yeah.
yeah, I was, and then in 2022, I went again because my dad's brother died and I
Okay.
wanted to be there, for them. But that produced some stuff. It was just none of us knew how to settle into this new relationship. And none of us knew how to be honest with each other because for them, there was this feeling of we don't know if we'll ever be enough for you and we
Mm,
can't fix you. But of course, I'm over here going, you're everything in so many ways, but not in, I mean, God is everything. But this is
yeah.
so new to me. But I don't expect you to fix me. That's not what this is about.
It's almost like you both are want the best for each other, but how to yeah, and it's so exciting, but then it's also there's so much I'm sure it was activating the inner child in you, the inner
Oh
child, and
gosh,
then the
fully.
adult Ju like adult Julie, little Julie, baby Julie, teenage
And of
Julie.
course, I didn't know how to connect with her yet. The only time I had was that 2020 period where I cried. That was the first time I'd ever done it.
Yeah. Okay,
And
yep,
so I knew, and I was still going through therapy during that 2021 time during reunion. Then in 2022, I noticed there was a big shift in our relationship. And I don't know if this was when things were happening or not with him and another woman. I really don't know.
yeah,
But it felt that way.
sure,
And there was a huge disconnect. And I had mentioned to him, I think you need to get some trauma therapy. So what ended up happening, and it's a long story and we don't need to get into
sure.
it, but what ended up happening was my therapist ended up firing me in order to help him. I mean, it was funny. She was like, "You're here and he's here. And until he gets here, we can't really work on the marriage, right?" I was like, "Oh my gosh." So when 2022, the end of the summer hit, I was a mess. Here I am helping people, and I don't even know what the hell is going on with me. I was not okay. My relationship with my husband was not okay. I felt like a huge disappointment. I was literally stuck in a shame spiral. Brene Brown became my literal best friend.
Oh, Brene, yeah, shame.
I'm serious.
Yeah, the fear of
Literal best friend.
disconnection, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So from August to September, full month, I literally listened to every single one of her books because I was like, I don't know what to do. Because I get home, it's a long story, but I get home from a camp where I served and where one of my sons is actually working now. And he said to me he had no empathy left for me, literally said those words. And I was like, if you have no empathy left for me, what are we even doing in a marriage? I don't know how to move forward with that. And so that's what started the spiral. So I have to fix myself in order for us to, wow. So I finally got it in September after beginning parts work, first time I ever delved into
Yes,
it. So I
love parts
started
work.
parts work and I started somatic work. I went through a somatic coaching program that actually taught me about the vagus nerve, taught me about the different nerve bundles that go up the vagus nerve, what they mean, and why. I was learning a whole new language and I was changing. Like everything about me was becoming different and I was more present. I wasn't doing, I was trying to be. And so
Mm.
it was a whole new shift for me in how I deal with adversity now. I don't do, I be. I just allow myself to hold space for myself.
Mm.
And that was the shift for me. So once I was able to do those things and move through it and understand, he just it was like it was almost the whole idea of one of my mentors says, "You call him up, you either call him up or you call him out." And sadly, I think I ended up calling him out.
Woo! Say that again.
You either call him up or call him out. This is Becky Aste is the coach that I work for and with, and I actually used to mentor her, but she is now one of my somatic helpers that helps me learn. And anyway, she's wonderful. We help each other. She's one of my best friends.
I love that saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's I figured you would relate.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Because that
So
you have the opportunity when you expose a truth or share a truth, the person can rise to the occasion of meeting you or working on themselves, or you call them out and bye.
yep. So the reason why I was even bringing all that up was to lead you to April of 23.
Okay.
So horrible fall. There were horrible things. He was not nice to me. Let's just be honest, not nice to me. So we get to 2023. I leave, go help his brother's wife's,
You're off to help again. Off to help. Mary Poppins is off to her
off
next
to
thing.
do, but it was also because I was learning how to be, and I felt like I
Ah,
need space from this relationship right now.
yeah, totally.
And that space is what brought the download. You need to
Oh,
work with adoption. So that's really where it began was in April of 2023, that lightning bolt. I came home. I started a coaching program with a mentor of mine, Kelly Brock. She's amazing, who helped me. It was called Essence, and it helped me hone in on what my purpose. It wasn't just her. She also had another coach, Anna Maria Velasquez. I want to say her name too because she was amazing. But they helped me hone in on that calling and how. But it was literally during the separation, during the divorce. It was awful. And they held that space for me in a way that allowed me to learn how to turn, and I don't like this phrase, but it's the truth, turn my pain into purpose. And that's what I ended up doing. So that's how it began. And then In the end of 2023, I started putting together it was really interesting because when all of the somatic stuff, when I learned it, I had so much head knowledge, Bree.
Right. Yes, same.
Yeah.
You
So
could recite the symptoms of depression and the top 10 coping tools and where the this and the chemicals and the that and the executive function. All here though, right?
all neck up, all neck up. And this, my throat, my voice was paralyzed because
Oh,
I
yes.
didn't know how
You're
to
blowing my
use
mind right now. Sorry. Go. Like, because
so
everything you're saying is, yeah, I get it. Go. Keep going.
I know you get it. So I start the somatic work in 2022 and I probably right around the beginning of 2023, I felt this, I don't know how to explain it, but whoosh into my body where I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I have all this. It's now here. Now what do I do? It was here and I didn't know what to do with it. My body began to process all of it. And that at the end of 2023, I was able to actually digestibly put it into a program to be able to help adoptees. Because what I had learned is after even those first few years with my birth family, I had been expecting belonging to come from them.
Right.
If I find them, I will be fine. My life, good. Well, and I don't know what I'm not saying bad things about them, but I
No,
had to realize I was putting way too much on them.
they can't do, nobody can do
Can't
that for you.
no one can do
Nobody except God.
God. Exactly. Exactly. And so this question really, really helped me during that time. It was if I only belong to myself and to God, what would I want for my life when I was going through the separation and divorce? And I
Hmm.
sat with that question. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And I tell people to do this and they think I'm a crazy person. They're like, I have tried to sit for 5 minutes and I can't do it. I'm like, girl, you need to practice this. Stillness is going to save your freaking life so that you can allow yourself to receive from God
Yes.
or your higher power or the universe, whatever you call it. It's God for me, just saying. So I did that straight for 10 days. And I actually set a timer for 15 minutes, 20. I increased it. And I would sit in stillness so stinking hard for me to do
Uh-huh.
with no music, with silence. And I would repeat that question. If I only belong to myself and to you, God, what would I want for my life? And I just listen. And I'm telling you, girl, I still the journal is sitting right next to me. All this stuff. Yep. All through my crown came down. I wrote it all down. All of it.
Tha
I
that's
still
how
have
I feel it. Through
yeah.
the
Yep.
here when I sit and then you get,
Yes.
and then you get the answers, and sometimes they're not the ones you might not wanna hear.
Nope.
Not it never in a mean way, but it'll be, "That's not good for you."
Ah,
And I'm
yes.
like, "Fuck." Sorry, I'm just,
I totally know what you're saying because this is the thing. There's a lot of different ways that we receive messages. For me, and it sounds like
yeah,
for you, I am what's called clairaudient. I can hear an audible voice in my head. It's
same.
yeah, it's weird.
I
It, you know,
know. Was that me or that was a good one. That could have been me, right?
it
That
can
was
be
too.
so funny. So that's what was happening. I was receiving from God. And that's how I began to realize my belonging. I have been searching for so long for belonging from other people, from outside myself, when really it's been within me all along. My worth it gives me the chills talking about it again. My worth does not come from anyone else. It comes from within me. And man, let me just bring in the I it was an adventure in adversity for me to realize, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that it was inside of me, and it was inside of me from the time I was freaking in the womb. And so, all of that to say, that's how I got to where I am. That's how I created this 7-phase program that I've worked through, didn't even realize that's what I was doing. And it's so funny because some of my clients will ask me, which I think is hilarious, actually use these tools? I'm like, I created them. Yes, I use them on a
You're like
consistent basis.
you're like, "Nope, never tried them. How do you what do you think?"
I just thought that was such a funny question. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to offer it if I didn't actually know how to do it, you know?
Well, you know
Um,
what? You probably got them in the downloads when you were quiet.
yes, that is
That's
yes.
when they freaking come. It's
And
weird.
well, and what's really interesting is I've so when I work with adoptees and even with myself in situations that are still really gentle, because currently right now I'm I'm a year and 10 months out of divorce and there was a ton of grief that I dealt with in the last year and 10 months. heavy
Of
28
course,
years of it that I was
of
carrying. I
course.
was married to the man for a long time, and I had to move from a house. I had to go through things. He wasn't living there, so I had to go through stuff that brought up all these memories. I mean, I
Oh,
was you name it, I'm just sobbing on the floor, weekend after weekend, trying to get
wow.
through all this because I had to. Because I was moving and I needed to move. I needed to get out of that space because it felt oppressive to me.
Oh, yeah, the physical space, man, it's so important, right? Yeah.
Our
Mm.
environment matters. And so getting here has freed me up more than I have ever been freed to be able to energetically receive what I need to. And what I realized this last weekend, I had a girls' weekend with my friends, which you saw some of the
Yes,
reels.
I wanna be there.
No, I want you to come.
Maybe I
I have
will
some
be,
extra
okay?
room.
At this
Show up.
point, I think we might be friends.
Oh
Okay.
no, I think we already are. So what ended up happening, and I know I need to shut up. I've been talking
No,
a
you
lot.
don't at all. This is I'm gonna cry after the episode, so it's fine. I'm
Uh,
happy.
oh, you're a sweetheart. So I'm sitting in the chair that's over here in this living area. After my girlfriends are like, Julie, you have got to realize that you don't have control over what happens in your boys' lives and this new woman that is in your ex-husband's life. You really don't. If they were 2 and 4 or 4 and 6 or whatever, you would. But they're 22 and 20. And I think what I had this was the one thing I was holding on to
Mm.
was I need to have a relationship with her in order for me to know how she's inputting into my children.
Right, that would seem
It
logical.
seems logical, but my friends were like, "Julie, you don't need to have her think about it."
Yeah, why
And I
do you?
exactly, but it took me and honestly, I got pissed at them. I'm like, "You don't know what you're talking about. You've never been through what I've been through. You don't know how painful it is. Shut up." I mean, I didn't say it that way, but
Oh,
I
no,
was
but,
just
like, good friends because 'cause they're like, "Hey, we're just gonna give it to you real, and we're just gonna have a talk," right?
and they did, and I needed it, and it took about 45 minutes for them to get through my thick skull because 'cause I'm freaking stubborn, for me to realize and how they got through to me was, "You haven't gotten angry," which it's true. I've had moments of pockets of anger. I mean, and my oldest says it so well. He's like, "You are the one that was wronged. You are the one that I'm defending. I don't care. This is your fault." He
Mm.
feels it, and I'm just, "Okay, I'll just try
It's okay.
to be compassionate and kind."
Yeah. You're
So we're
like
sitting
little
there talking,
cookie.
and one of my friends goes, I think it was actually his sister-in-law is one of my best friends. She was here. And or his sister,
His his
my
sister.
sister-in-law.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she even oh,
Oh,
that's a good
yeah.
sister-in-law.
I mean, they still obviously have a relationship,
Of
but she's
course,
like
but she thinks for herself, obviously. She's
she
a
does. So
crawl
she
space.
said to me, she goes, "Julie, do you know every single person that your children know?" And I was like, No. Where are you
Oh,
going with this, Gretchen?"
damn it.
And she was like, "You have communicated to me, and I've heard you say it multiple times, you need to have a relationship with her in order for you to know how she." And I was like, it just dawned on me, I don't need that. Why do I feel like I need that? And then I got mad, and I realized and I started cursing,
Yeah, it's fine,
just
comes out.
saying, and I was like, "She doesn't deserve a relationship with my children. I don't want her to have a relationship with my children. What if she's more fun than I am?" All of this stuff started
But it
coming
all
up.
had to come out, right? It all had to come
Yes.
out.
So after they left, it was this whole new layer of grief that I'm dealing with right now. It's just a whole new step. Like I've been divorced here
Yeah,
in 10 months, but now I have to grieve the family fracture. The fact that that's what bothered me. I'm not
that's hard.
I have to share them for freaking holidays now and they're not even married. I'm so mad about that. That makes me
Yeah,
mad. I
yeah.
don't want to do that. If we were still together, which I don't think we should be, but if we were, we would be spending holidays together. So, or we would be going on the birthday trip together that they went on, So it's just, so there's
And
that.
you're allowed to be mad. Here's the thing, if you were to be like, "I'm not mad, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm not mad. I'm actually not mad, I'm fine." That it's a you can be mad. What do you do with that, right?
Exactly.
After you feel it, and then it calms down, you go, "Okay, now what?"
Well, and that's kind of what happened on Sunday. So after they all left, I allowed the anger to surface. I do this technique called the letting go technique. It's by,
Oh god, I need it.
yeah, it's really
For a
good.
lot of things.
Is it Bob Proctor, I think is who came up with it?
Bob
I don't know if you've heard of him.
oh,
He does a
no.
lot of subconscious
Ooh,
reprogramming, like NLP stuff, but I don't know if it was
love it.
NLP that started working on
Okay,
it. But the letting go technique is basically allow yourself to become aware of the feeling. It's very simple, but it's very
okay.
hard. So I sat over there in that chair and allowed it to surface. There was anger, there was sadness. I held space for my 50-year-old self because what I realized was that was the self that was feeling so wronged and so hurt and so
Mm.
abandoned and so rejected, all those things. And what's interesting is where I went back to was another girls' trip for my 50th birthday with all those same people where I was sobbing my eyes out about the fact that he had literally just left. He'd walked out of the house with a duffel bag and never came back. But I didn't even know where he was at this point.
Mm.
And so I was feeling so much. So I went back and I held that space for her. I grieved it. She held my hand. We were able to, it's going to sound woo woo, but we
No.
integrated, which I didn't know if that would happen. But she decided she wanted to be with me because she wanted me to hold that grief so that that layer was now done and I could focus on the new one. So that's what I needed to do. It took me 3 hours, Bree. Now, I don't say that this will happen. It'll take that long for everyone because it doesn't. Emotion usually takes about 20 minutes to move through you or 90 seconds. It's 90 to
Yeah, I've heard that it can pass 90 to be processed, right? Like,
correct. Yeah.
because yeah, and that's usually when
Anxiety
tricky.
specifically.
Yeah. Some
Yeah.
people, that's when usually people push it down. That's when you wanna kinda feel it, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly right. So it's the
yeah.
become aware of it, allow it to show up. Now, the whole thing, you can't do this when you're at work and you notice it.
Hold on, boss.
Exactly.
I don't wanna punch you in the face. Hold on, like, metaphorically.
When I work with people, I have to put a pin in it and know that you're going to return. You cannot
Oh,
you
okay.
cannot bury it.
Put a pin
And
in it because 'cause
so
you'll deal with it later in the afternoon, maybe.
correct. So that's what happens. I knew that night before when they were going at me that this is something I have to deal with. And so I knew what I had to do. I sat there, I became aware of
Oh,
it, let it come up. So one is become aware, two is let it come up. Let it.
okay.
Because we will do everything in our power to be like, I don't want to feel it because it freaking hurts. It is
It
so
does.
painful. The pain that I was feeling was like just what I described with my baby self when I was crying. It was that.
Guttural, like pain in your deep soul. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And
I know
so
that.
it came up. Then the third thing is you stay with it. You let it do what it needs to do. Those waves, there there are frequencies that live within those emotions that if we don't release them, we won't have space for anything else. That was my issue. I didn't know and I needed to let it go. And then the fourth thing is you let it run its course and then allow your body to do what it needs to do after. Maybe it's get up and stomp. Maybe it's scream into a pillow. Maybe it's go for a run. Maybe it's you just need to sit there and allow yourself to hug yourself, the whole somatic
Mm,
containment hold.
tapping, yeah.
Or even butterfly tapping, all that stuff, right?
Just yeah, even just like this, right? It's just
Yeah, or even on your thighs, like
just
especially if there's safety that's been threatened,
oh,
you want to do it below
I
because
see.
that's where the root is, so you want to do it below
Mm,
the root chakra. So anyway,
amazing.
that's the full circle of where I'm at now, and I'm not saying I've arrived. There are days where I'm like, "Man, I feel I'm just spinning my wheels. I'm working freaking 3 jobs to try and, build this new business that I'm trying to
Sure.
create." So it's a lot, but I'm
But you okay. This is you're just yeah, I agree with what your mom said when she held you that you're honestly because your understanding having been through such adversity from the very minute as a
yeah.
baby and then fighting through that and then all the life events and then now giving all of that lived experience and your trained professional experience and pouring back out. I mean, having a coach, if you're an adoptee listening to this, how wonderful is it to not have to explain what it feels like to be an adoptee?
Oh, totally. Girl, you did it. It drives us bonkers because you'll try to explain it to somebody and their eyes roll up. They don't get it.
And you can't get it, right? Unless you're adopted.
Exactly. And you don't want them. I don't want them
I
to
don't you
fucking
don't want I really want you to feel this feeling that sucks. No, but guess what? When someone else I can imagine if I was an adoptee and I even if I'm in a cafe and I look across and someone was like, "Hey, I'm an adoptee." I'd be like, "What's up? Coffee on me, boo." Like, "I really love you. Let's talk. Maybe we won't hang out, but I want to talk to you now." Cuz you have a you're my boy. You have a common shared experience that Jim was saying, or Wilson was on a doorstep in China. Jim
Yeah.
moved through orphanages in San Jose. I'm like, I mean, it's just, as someone who is getting to know adoptees and your story deeply, I feel this calling to help your community of adopt. I don't know what it is, but I feel the authenticity is just so awesome. And
I
authenticity is everything.
Yeah.
And adoptees, would you say that it's almost like you're stripped down? You're so authentic because what else are you going to be? You've been through everything, right?
Yeah, I think and we have to find our authenticity, and
You
I think
find it.
Jim has gotten to that place where he's found it too, but I'm working with adoptees right now that are really at the beginning of this understanding, and what we call it is the fog: fear, obligation, and guilt. There's that we hold, and we feel we need to keep it there so that everybody else can be happy, but what about us? We need to remove that veil in order for us to begin to feel the loss that we experience, the rejection, the
Yeah.
shame, the guilt, the identity struggles that we have. And then when I talk
Yeah.
about the intimacy stuff, and,
Oh, yeah.
for me, I think the end game and what I try to help adoptees get to is surrender, but in a
Mm.
way that's not weak, or I don't know how to describe it other than go ahead. What were you going to say?
I've heard a term, and tell me if, from Tara Brock, called radical acceptance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Radical self-acceptance. Yep, yep, yep. I love Tara Brach. That is one of so my phases go
Yeah.
through self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-responsibility, self-transformation, self-love, then self-belonging. So you move along that continuum. But here's the thing, it's not linear. You're
Yeah.
constantly in layers, almost cycling through those. Once you uncover, there's a
Then
new one.
you,
Correct. Yeah. And so part of that is learning how you have to learn how to accept yourself, but you also have to learn how to hold the shame, not in a way, and this is what's really difficult because we hate shame, right? But everybody has that part of
everybody has
themselves
shame. Uh-huh.
that they need to learn to love. And that's
Mm.
part of the work that we do in there. We don't
Mm.
exile our parts. We learn how to accept our parts and show them compassion. Yeah.
And I'm literally everything you say is like turning into a clip that I'm going to post. I'm clip, 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 clip. I'm looking at your store links just because I want to make sure people know what you offer. It
Mhm.
looks like you've got, obviously you're a trauma informed adoptee coach.
Mhm.
All of this is going to be in the show notes, but I just want to brag about you for a second.
Oh,
So
you're
you've
sweet.
got um, reveal the noticing practice, where what arises. You've got videos you can watch. You've got a free processing emotions exercise.
Mhm.
You've got the resilience project.
Facebook group that's free for adoptees.
Amazing. You can have a 30-minute consult with you, be seen and heard.
Mhm.
You have a coming home to self website. I'm not done yet. We got, let's see, the pathway to self belonging for adoptees, self discovery for adoptees, identity workshop. This is Christmas morning for adoptees. Okay? I'm sorry, but it is. And it might just be for anybody who's searching for themselves, right? But I feel I want to, if someone's listening to this and they're like, "Wow, I'm an adoptee," or "Oh, I didn't, maybe I should look into this." There's programs and tools and
Mhm.
groups. You don't have to do this on your own on the internet.
Mhm. No, you don't.
You
And there's
shouldn't.
some of them are self-paced because I've
Yeah.
found the first 2 that you described, Revelation, the self-discovery one, is a self-paced one, and Restoring Self is a self-paced one.
Okay. Yeah, but
But
you have community to connect with.
yes, and they can be a part of the Resilience Project, and then the other thing is with both of those, they get a session. I will work with them.
Amazing.
With the second one, they get 2, one at the beginning, one at the end. Now, Revolution is the one that's a whole other website, because or not
Yeah.
website.
Yeah.
That is the 7-month program that
Wow.
I just mentioned. All of them work through the phases, but they
Sure.
build. It's that
Got
whole
it.
idea of we're titrating up that ladder to help their nervous system become familiar. So, yeah.
So beautiful. Julie, seriously, I know, and gosh, I say this every time, like every guest. Maybe this one will, who knows how this one's gonna go. And every time I'm like, okay, I need to have you back. Oh my gosh. We're coming up on just over an hour here, and I never stop talking. So I want to, first of all, remind you that everything, all the resources, Julie, that you offer, I'm going to put in the show notes. all your links, all your programs, Instagram, the Facebook community for any adoptees. Now, do you work with a certain age of adoptees?
Well, right now it's ranging from 1920s. I have a
Oh,
couple of
awesome.
young people that I'm working with
That's
to all the
amazing.
way up to 60s. So,
So that's so cool.
yeah,
That's
it just
so
depends
cool.
on
It depends where
where
you're
they're
at.
yeah, it depends on where they're at in their awareness. I'm not gonna try and smack them across the face like, professor did. I try to help them gently come into awareness of what's actually
Yeah.
so,
Got it.
yeah.
So cool. I feel, what might be amazing. And
Mm.
this is like, okay, I just got a download.
Download. Yep.
I got it while I was talking though, which
Mhm.
usually,
What a
God's like, with these two, we just got to download while they're talking. What if one day you, Wilson, Jim, and me, we could do a panel?
I would love it. Let's
I
do
mean,
it.
I'm just trying things. I don't know what I'm doing, but
Yeah, let's do it.
I would love to have groups, discussions, talks about specific topics. We'll all meet in person for my big dream event one day. I got to put a pin in that and come
Yeah.
back to it.
Put a pin in that and come
But
back.
I just wanted to thank you first for sharing your story as a human being,
Mhm.
as an adoptee, as a counselor, as now I'm going to go ahead and call you a leader in the adoptee community, someone who's
Oh,
helping everybody heal.
thank you.
I want to commend your family who raised you, and you're a beautiful woman. And as a fellow believer, I keep getting connected with people who know God, and
Mhm.
I'm just so grateful to know you that way as well.
Me
So
too. Honored,
yeah,
really.
yeah.
What a
This,
perfect podcast for when I saw the name, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I need to connect with this woman." So,
oh, please. Well, God gave me that name in a download, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
mhm.
Cool. How do I do it? Oh, and then like 10 times, the enemy would be like, "You can't do it. You're dumb." And I'm like,
Right.
I want to do it though.
Yeah. And
So,
you're doing the thing, girl. You are doing the thing.
hey, we're doing the things, and I can't wait to publish this. And thank you so much. And I
Mhm.
can't wait to just be connected to you now.
Me
So,
too. Forever. You aren't getting rid of me.
forever. All right. Well, we are going to sign off episode 59, coming to you from Adventures in Adversity. All right. We'll see
Peace.
you soon. Thank you.